Welcome back. I've missed y'all. It is Tuesday again, so let's dive right in. First off, happy Father's Day, and I have more to say on that in just a minute. But to all the fathers out there who are part of their kids' lives and doing what they need to be doing, happy Father's Day to you all, and keep being the awesome role models that you are. Now let's get into the show. Now, before we get into it, you know the drill. Give me a subscribe, maybe like this video, comment down below. Specifically, I need you to comment your favorite memories with your dads. Also, hit the little bell. Someone's dad will probably go insane, but it most likely won't be yours. And in exchange, you get my awesome videos every week. So definitely what you need to do. Now, it was Father's Day this past Sunday. And I asked y'all what your favorite memories with your fathers were. Mine, probably watching It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas Eve. My own dad. We have a tradition out of that. I believe we've talked about it before. Uh, but we have a crisis in this country, and it's the fact that dads are not around. Really, it's when you look at the numbers across the board, coast to coast, it's over 50% of homes do not have a father in it, which is a problem. They don't want you to think it's a problem. They think, oh, it's fine that people are giving up their parental duties. But it's not fine. You know, broken homes lead to everything from crime to perversions of all sorts. It's never a good thing. Uh, and it's time for men to not only step up and be men, dads to step up to be dads, but there is a threat that we must fight because I can't talk about Father's Day for very long today because it's still June. And you know what that means? That means that it is still the officially recognized Pride Month. Yay. And because it is still June, and we won't say this when June's over. This is here to stay if we do not stand up against it. But as I talked about last week, actually, gotcha, 2 weeks ago, it is um, it is parents bringing their kids to drag shows. It boggles my mind. I don't understand why. I mean, yes, you have schools doing drag shows. We're going to talk about that, but you also have parents bringing their kids to drag shows. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. You got to ask yourself the question: Would this? Would parents still be doing this, bringing these kids to these perverse burlesque shows, if they were actually done by women instead of men dressed up to look like the most horrifying perversion of womanhood out there? I mean, really think about it. Would there not be any backlash if these women were invited into schools and these women were invited in burlesque outfits to speak at these drag queen story hours? I'm sure they'd be called something else. Tell me, would it be different? Go ahead. I would love to hear it. So tell me in the comments how exactly it's different. I want to hear. Even though I imagine you're probably wrong. But because it's mostly gay men dressing up as pale imitations of women, it's all right. It's encouraged. That's what it seems to be going on. It seems like having shows where gay men dress up in drag in horrifying makeup, and I've heard it called woman face, and it's cheered on by a certain group of people. But more than that, there's not enough backlash against it. There's not enough people willing to stand up and say this is wrong. And if you're on the left, uh, even if you were to think it's wrong because of your general ideology, you couldn't say why. I can say why it's wrong. Children shouldn't be shown to any sexualization. That and childhood should not exist. Um, Also, men should not be pretending to be women, especially for these sexual escapades they're trying to go on, the underlying sexual nature that is a drag show. Um, and it's wrong it's wrong, it's morally wrong. We can say that. It is okay if you believe it's morally wrong to say that, but if you're leftist, even if you're uneasy about this, even if you want to drag your kids to this, you still can't make a coherent argument against it, and that's because your ideas are frankly not really rooted in reality. Hate to say it, but we see this all across the country. Are these drag shows taking hold? And they've really, really gone up over the past couple of years, and taking hold systemically. We hear about a lot of systemic this, systemic that. This is starting to take hold systemically, and I can prove it to you. So, starting in Michigan, Michigan Attorney General is facing criticism after she suggested that there should be a drag queen in every school. Her name is Dana Nessel, and made the comments during a civil rights summit in Lansing, Michigan, just a few days ago. Now, in her, yeah, I don't want to say defense. I'm not defending her. There should not be a drag queen in every school. Apparently, it was a joke. Not a funny one. Just plenty of other things to joke about that are funny. Also, why do you think it's funny? Why is it funny that men dressed up as overly sexualized? Why is it that it's funny for them to go and there should be one in every elementary school or every school? And you're going to see this happening more and more as our culture keeps being dragged down to hell. You're going to see this more and more. You're going to see public officials. Nancy Pelosi, granted, she sold her soul to the devil a long, long, long time ago. I don't know how she doesn't just walk into a church and burst into flames. Of course, some of the outfits she wears, it looks like she's trying to hide that. She appeared on, what was it, RuPaul's Drag Show? RuPaul's Drag Queens, something or another. She was proud to be on there. I mean, you're seeing more and more public officials, public figures, people who actually have power to do what we're going to talk about in just a minute, endorsing, but not just endorsing, celebrating, but not just celebrating, participating, and not just participating, but demand that you participate. That's the progression. Not just starts with tolerating, and then it goes to them demanding. First off, it's we want to be left alone. Then it's, oh, we demand you publicly tolerate it. Then it goes on to, hey, maybe you should participate, as we see with all of these pride parades, with children watching guys in bondage gear getting smacked around by. It's really weird. It's really weird footage coming out of some of these things. Very strange, very uncomfortable to watch, knowing there's like toddlers there and kids, impressionable kids who see that and they don't know that it's wrong. They definitely haven't been taught. It's actually really sad, these kids, because you feel like they don't have a chance in life. I mean, yes, just because, kids have bad parents doesn't mean that they can overcome that later. But at the same time, it's not starting them off on the right foot. And it gets worse. That thing I was talking about, the public officials can do to kind of force this down our throats, it is give them public money, which is exactly what's happening in New York City. where $200,000 of taxpayer money from different funds has been spent on public school drag queen shows in New York City. $200,000 of taxpayer money. So whether you believe in it or not, your money that the government has taken from you is now using that money to put drag queens into schools with your children. Last month alone, Drag Story Hour New York City, formerly Drag Queen Story Hour New York City, I think, a nonprofit whose outrageously cross-dressed performers interact with kids as young as 3 because, kids as young as 3 really know what's going on in life and they can look at this lunacy and be like, huh, huh, you're funny. That's what's supposed to happen. No, they cannot. They're going after the most impressionable, and they have to. I've been saying this for so long, but it's because they absolutely have to. And if they don't, well, they're not having kids. If they don't indoctrinate these young kids, their whole way of thinking will die off. Please let it be so. Yeah, kids as young as 3 years old. It's lunacy. It's ludicrous. I just and that's the thing. I was texting someone before this, and I said, how hard is it to understand that children are just not sexual? They're just not sexual. They shouldn't be around sexual stuff. They shouldn't be around homosexuality. The most they should see is mom and dad kissing when dad gets home from work or when mom gets home from work. They shouldn't be. They should think that's gross because they just haven't been shown it. They haven't been. They haven't been immersed in the world of sexuality of any kind. Because again, you do this. You have burlesque dancers, actual women, because we can define them as adult human females. If they were brought in, there would definitely be uproar there. And maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there would be no uproar. People would be fine with that. But I feel like it'd be icky. I feel like parents taking their kids to strip clubs, even what soft strip clubs, is that what they call them? Where they don't strip. I don't know. My strip club experience is 0 to nil. But I still think there'd be some backlash against it. But yeah. So they've gotten $46,000 from city contracts for appearances at public schools, street festivals, libraries, city record shows, and then they got the other 154,000 roughly from different like arts endowments and stuff like that. Which is strange because if it's art, it's hideous. It's a mockery. That's another reason why drag is wrong. It makes a mockery of the beauty that is femininity. Like, you're taking something that is, from my perspective, just amazing. I'm a guy. I like femininity, from women. And it's amazing when you see that exuded by a woman. When you see the mockery of it that men make, it's revolting, reviling. Trying to think of another R word. It's disgusting. There's no way about it. There's a video going around of a family-friendly, another family-friendly drag show where dude had on fake breasts, and you see the whole time he's strutting around, and it's just like, it would be weird if they were real and it was on a woman with 5-year-old kids, 5-year-old boys and girls there. And it's weird when it's a dude putting on fake breasts and they're still bouncing around. Like, it's just weird and it's wrong, and you can say it's wrong. And when you believe as we do that there's an absolute right and wrong, you can just say it's wrong because kids shouldn't be subjected to this. But it's so icky. It's disgusting, and we should be able to say that without feeling bad about it. We shouldn't have to say, well, if adults can whatever they want to do, then maybe just let them do it, and then if it's kids, you don't do it around it. It's just all wrong. It's all wrong, and it's especially wrong when you bring kids into it. Um, and I mean, it is a slippery slope. People have been making this argument for years and years that this is when you start bringing kids into this, it is a slippery slope. That's because it is. You have started with let's put it this way. And I've talked about it before. This used to be a joke. You used to laugh when someone said the name RuPaul. Like, this was a tragic backstory for a major character of a major sitcom that ran in the 90s and 2000s. And in that time, it's gone from a joke and a tragic backstory to celebrated by the elites, by the people at the top of our societal ladder. And it just continues to get worse. Because, again, they're pushing for it in schools. A California state representative or state senator straight up said, I'm thinking about writing a bill where drag queenism needs to be part of, I can't remember the exact words, but drag queenism needs to be a part of K through 12. And then he went on to say, like, going to a drag show satisfies the requirement or something. This is New York City. Like the Michigan Attorney General that we talked about. But like it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop at the walls. It's making its way into the church, unfortunately. I mean, we've talked about it several times. You had the Chicago Lutheran Church where literally he brought the kids up in drag and started reading a book about love and joy, and it's just icky, the twisting of Jesus saying, let the little children come unto me, and teaching them the right way versus someone who's supposed to be a leader doing the same thing but twisting it so perversely. And even worse, I don't know about even worse. Let's not go there. But also very bad. A drag pride event in Austin, Texas, which I don't know why this keeps coming out of Texas. You think Texans would be the ones who are like, we're not playing around with drag, but no. I mean, I get it's Austin, whatever. Which drag queens strutted their stuff before a crowd that reportedly includes scores of children, was partially sponsored by a Catholic health ministry. So now even the Catholic Church is starting to waver on this. At least parts of it. I'm not going to say the whole thing. At least parts of it are starting to waver. I mean, I imagine that Catholic health ministry gets significant amount of money from other dioceses contributing to it. But they said this is their reasoning for it. As a Catholic health ministry, Ascension has a unique obligation and calling. And I gotta stop right there real quick because every time they start using words that Christians have been using to describe actual, like, things within Christianity, obligated callings for sure. And the way they structure it, you get the sense of like actual people feeling these convictions. And it's just, I say icky a lot this episode because this whole thing gets icky. But that's just curdles my stomach, and yeah, it's disgusting. So, and reflecting in our mission, that's another Christian buzz phrase that they are absolutely twisting. To advocate for a more just and compassionate society in words and actions. So, Yeah, bending. It stuns me. It really does. That they can conflate taking the word of God to people and generally just being a good force in the world. The Christian Church, for all of its flaws, because it's comprised of flawed human beings, has been a great force in the world. To take that force and to twist it in such a way to where you are actively promoting drag queens for children in the name of being for creating a more just and compassionate society, it makes you wonder where this can go next. It makes you wonder how much worse it can get. Not just out there, because we know it's going to get worse out there. Out there, it's going to get worse. How much more will churches and these Christians, to this and actual Christianity not compatible? How much worse will it get in here? How much more will Christians let this go before they say enough is enough? I don't know. And then you get to here where anything goes when it comes to drag. I don't have the video. It's shouldn't be too hard to find. It was on Twitter. Just look up self-proclaimed drag demon queen, and I'm sure you'll pull it up. This some of the tweets put up is just full face tats, full on drag and face tats. Plays flute for toddlers, and explicitly calls on Satan. There is no bottom here. Let's let that be the point. There is no bottom here. It will just keep sliding down worse and worse. I don't know where we'll go next. I, by the grace of God, don't have the imagination to say, hey, this is the next truly demonic, weird, unconscionable thing that the drag community is going to go to. But they will find something. They will find something. And when they do, just rest assured, you're going to see it. Hopefully you hear it from me, because you're watching. Hopefully you hear it from me and go, ooh, and then you go out and elect people who maybe don't want children to be allowed to be sexualized like this, because it's what it is, sexualization of children, by bringing them to these drag shows. Or taking charge with your family, being like, hey, we are not going to... The parents are bringing their kids to this. There's natural law, and part of the natural law is parents have an obligation to their kids to take care of them and to raise them right. Part of that is not giving them candy before they go to bed. Also, practical application, you might get a little bit of sleep. Also, part of natural law of taking care of your children, not dragging them to a drag queen show where they will be confused for the rest of their lives, and their chance of committing suicide one day, or at least attempting to, is jacked way up, along with depression and just general melancholy, not having children of their own, all of these things, and something that's been proven time and time again. I'm running close to out of time, so I do want to talk about one thing, and of course this is brought up by Greg Abbott started it in Texas, saying he was considering actually enforcing the law, child abuse laws, with kids forcing transgenderism, or parents forcing transgenderism onto their kids, because 5-year-old kids don't think they're transgender unless it's forced on them. But also in my state, the great free state of Florida, Ron DeSantis suggests that Florida might consider calling child protective services on parents who take their kids to the perverse LGBT drag shows. What he said was someone asked him the question about that, and he said, "Yeah, my staff is taking a look at that right now." Um, which begs the question: should this be the case? And my answer, I mean, it's a pretty big deal to have send child protective services after parents. Like, should be a last resort when they're being very much abused, hurt, not taken care of, negligent, all of these things. And I think there's a case to be made with the long-term studies that are, coming out, with all of the data we're seeing, and also common sense, should you choose to accept it, is that common sense, should you choose to accept it, is that this is abuse. It's emotional abuse. I mean, there's not much difference between doing this and showing your 5-year-old porn. I think we should all be able to agree. I don't think we can all agree, but I think we should all be able to agree that this is sexual abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, and so is this. I mean, dragging your kids to a drag show, just with over-sexualized men who, there's statistics out there, are more inclined to view them with a certain eye. I'm be careful how I'm saying that because I don't have the statistics currently to back it up, memorized on a sheet of paper. But there definitely seems to be a link between drag and pedophilia, which is maybe why they're trying to do so many shows in front of kids. Should this be a legal issue? Should this be a cudgel that the state uses against parents? That's a hard one. I'm not sure where I land because I generally just trust the government. That being said, I do have to admit that there are some times when CDP is needed. So I have to say yes. I do. I come down on the side of yes, this is abuse. And these kids, if they want a good shot at the rest of their life, probably need to be taken away from abusive parents who will take their kids to a drag show. I'm all out of time. Happy late Father's Day. Don't take your kids to drag shows, and do something that'll get you canceled by a leftist. Because if you're doing that, you're probably doing something right. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Might get off this subject, maybe not. I haven't determined yet. Y'all have a good one.